Jacksonville Jaguars fans, welcome into Duval Daily, presented by GenJag.com. I'm Jordan DeLugo. Thanks so much for being here. Friday, November 28th. Hope you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Happy Black Friday, I guess. Is that a thing? Do you say that? I don't know. Really appreciate you being here. If you enjoy the content, it's all Jags all the time. Please like and subscribe. Right now, we're taking a look at some critical injury news for the Jaguars, both for their matchup with the Titans and for the rest of the season in general. So the injury report is lengthy, as you would expect. Pretty much every team right now has a pretty lengthy injury report, but there's definitely some critical injury news that needs to be addressed, again, both for the game against the Titans and long-term for the rest of this season. 6 games left. I guess that's not really long-term, but they're important games. The Jaguars trying to make the playoffs, trying to win their division for the first time since 2022. It's a big deal. Jags fans have their first kind of taste of hope since like week 13 of 2023, something like that, which doesn't feel like that long. But when you look at the big picture, basically since Shad Khan has purchased the team, which he's done a lot of great things, don't get me wrong, willingness to spend both on the team and the facilities, all that stuff, right? But he hasn't found a consistent winner. Gus Bradley regime did not work out. Flash in the pan with Marone and Coughlin, one big season, didn't work out. Urban Meyer, abysmal. Flash in the pan with Doug Peterson, didn't work out. But it feels like things are a little bit different right now. But still, you just can't count your chickens before they hatch. You can't. Not with the Jacksonville Jaguars. So, you're hopeful that they can at least make the playoffs, which they should at this point at 7-4, playing the Titans twice. And no disrespect to the Titans, but they're a one-win football team that has a lot of holes, that fired their head coach, that has a rookie quarterback. I mean, they're not there yet. They're absolutely not there yet. Injuries are critical. And one interesting situation, Brian Thomas Jr. went from a limited participant in practice on Wednesday with an ankle injury, missed the last couple games, to a full participant on Thursday, Thanksgiving. So yeah, these guys aren't getting much of a Thanksgiving, going out and having a full day of work on Thursday, but it is what it is. That's what you sign up for in the NFL. Brian Thomas Jr., full participant, and the Brian Thomas Jr. saga is well documented both on this channel and, kind of across Jaguars and NFL media. He just has not had a good year. He's dealt with injuries. A lot of people go back to that first big hit in the preseason as to why things aren't going well for him. It's really difficult for me to figure out what the situation is because he was struggling in practice before that. And for me, I was always just like, well, he struggled in practice in 2024. And then he came out and had an incredible rookie year. And it wasn't, everybody's like, oh, he was just a Mac Jones merchant. He was having a really good rookie year with Trevor Lawrence. It just took the next step when all the other receivers went down with injury, and he was the only guy the Jaguars could throw to, and they started basically force-feeding him the football. And that worked out well. The way the plays were designed, the way he was executing, all that stuff. Still weren't winning games, but I digress. BTJ just has not looked interested in putting forth the type of effort you have to put forth over the middle, especially to come down with the football. Now he's a full participant in practice. Should mean he's coming back. Liam Cohen was asked about that, and he said they need his presence, and especially for like the field stretching part of it. And I definitely agree they can use the skill set. It's just like, as a first round pick who had, whatever it was last year, almost 1,300 receiving yards, is he now viewed as still like a starting receiver? Is he viewed, I don't, The thing about this is you have three receivers, really three targets in the receiving game who are playing really well right now. Jacoby Myers, Parker Washington, Brenton Strange. Does Brian Thomas Jr. come in and just demand a bunch of targets? Like, I can see if you're getting him targets that would have gone towards Tim Patrick or Austin Trammell, but then it's also not just like the volume, the number of targets, it's the way those players were utilized. And there was some Tim Patrick stuff that definitely could have been Brian Thomas Jr. targets. But then there's other stuff where it's like, it's kind of over the middle, in breaking routes. Do you trust Brian Thomas Jr. to do that? He has done some things over the middle. I mean, his catch against the Texans that won the game, basically, that was over the middle. He's also lost games, not giving full effort or focus over the middle. So it's a total conundrum, in my opinion. I'm glad I don't have to deal with it as a coach, because like that's difficult, psychological for the team, all that stuff. You've got a good thing going right now with Jacoby, Parker, Britton. Are you taking any of those guys off the field to get Brian Thomas Jr. on the field? I don't know. But I do agree with Liam Cohen in that Brian Thomas Jr.'s speed, athleticism, ability to stretch the field, it could definitely open things up more for some of these other guys if the opposing team respects it. So it's going to be fascinating to find out. But as a full participant in Thursday practice, seems like he will probably be able to play on Sunday. How many snaps is he getting? Like De'Ami Brown, his snaps had gone down to basically like 0 this past week. He had been around 20 the 2 games before that. Does he come in and have 20 snaps? Do they ease him in? There's just a lot of questions surrounding the Brian Thomas Jr. situation. But the best possible outcome is that the Jaguars do get Brian Thomas Jr. rolling. And then you have this offense that has these consistent players in the receiving game, and Jacoby, Brenton, and Parker, and this explosive element. That'd be cool. Danny Strigo did not participate in practice on Wednesday, was limited on Thursday, so moving in the right direction. The reason that is so significant, beyond the fact that he is a really good rotational rusher right now the last couple games, is because, unfortunately, Trayvon Walker just doesn't look like they're going to have him again. He's dealing with a knee injury, did not participate in practice, did not play last week. DNP both days so far, Wednesday and Thursday. He's just had a kind of snake bit season with the wrist injury and the knee that followed, and so that's tough. But, you know, if you're not going to have Trayvon, you would really like to have Danny Strigo. Of course, the fulcrum of the Jaguars pass rush is Josh Hines-Allen, and the secondary piece is Eric Armstead right now with no Trayvon Walker. But Strigo is right up there in terms of the most important guys after those two when it comes to affecting the passer. And if you're going to get the blitz going, which I imagine the Jaguars probably will, and you don't necessarily have to be blitzing, but at least sim pressures, then you see Devin Lloyd and Dennis Gardeck getting heavily involved as well. But Eric Murray limited both days since he had his practice window opened. That's not that big of a deal right now, in my opinion, because you do have some guys playing some pretty good football at the safety position. However, Antonio Johnson's been limited both days, but you would think being limited, he has a good shot to play. If he doesn't, you're probably looking at Dewey and Rayon Lane. If Eric Murray gets back, then he can, get some reps, some run. Antonio Johnson, we'll see. Anton Harrison, that's a big one. The Jaguars have been missing him the last couple weeks with knee/ankle. Full participant both days. Jaguars starting right tackle. Jags need him in a big way. Chuma Edoga hasn't participated in practice this week, which, of course, you don't really want to see him on the field for the Jaguars, but he has been key depth. That's definitely something to monitor, but Chuma Edoga not being available would have been even worse if Anton Harrison wasn't available. And we do have Patrick McCary in concussion protocol, has not participated either day. So you might see maybe like some Cole Van Lanen, some Wyatt Milam, if Patrick McCary can't go, but getting Anton back is a big deal. But it's been musical chairs on the offensive line all year, it feels like, for the Jaguars. But Anton is pretty key, in my opinion. You could make an argument that maybe like Cole Van Lannon or Wyatt Milam might not be a drop-off from Patrick McCary right now. McCary's had some ups and downs. He's done a good job in the run game overall, but not been as consistent as I think a lot of Jags fans would have hoped for. One thing to keep in mind, Eric Armstead was not on the injury report Wednesday. He was limited Thursday with a hand injury. So hopefully that doesn't become something that ends up impacting his availability, because outside of Eric Armstead, there is nobody on the interior that is rushing the passer with any consistency right now. So that's a huge one. They can not afford to not have Eric Armstead. Hunter Long has been a full participant in practice, so you could see the Jaguars' top two tight ends back together. That would be pretty big development overall. When it comes to the Titans, Chigo Okonkwo was limited Wednesday, did not participate on Thursday. So that's a big deal. He's a receiving tight end that has done some damage against the Jaguars, but he's definitely not the only Titans tight end. They have Gunnar Helm, a rookie who is a pretty good player. Lloyd Cushenberry, their starting center, has not participated in practice this week, so that's one to monitor for sure. Seems like he's probably not likely to be able to suit up for the Titans against the Jaguars, which would be, potentially helpful for the Jags. And those are the big ones. So injuries, they're going to have an impact on this game. They're going to have an impact the rest of the way. Obviously, Travis Hunter's not coming back, unfortunately, but it is good news that the Jaguars will get Eric Murray back. That was like the big kind of long-term injury news you got this week, where, he's got his 21-day practice window opened. Jags have a stretch here where, you beat Tennessee, you get to 8-4, and you, again, can't count your chickens before they hatch. But if you come in with the right focus in this game, there's no reason not to win it. Right focus, right preparation, no reason not to win it. And then you host the Colts for the division. And if the Jags beat the Titans and the Colts lose to the Texans, the Jaguars would have an opportunity to go up a game in the division. If the Jags beat the Titans and the Colts beat the Texans, then the Jags would end up, playing the Colts still for the division lead, but they would be tied at the top. The Jaguars would have the tiebreaker because they would have the head-to-head. So it would be really nice to see, like, Jags fans, in my opinion, I know there's been some debate about this week, but I would like to see, obviously, the Jags beat the Titans, but then I would like to see the Texans beat the Colts. And I know people are worried about the Texans coming back, but you handle your own business and the Texans can't catch you. They just can't. That's where I'm at with the AFC South for sure. But really appreciate y'all tuning in. If you enjoy the content, please like and subscribe, and y'all have a good one.